always been drawn to the buildings that have higher needs, the communities that have higher needs. And that being said, the thing I love about SDOL is that we have so many different communities of learners inside of SDOL. So, you have refugee students, you have immigrant populations. I think we boast ourselves on having, I think it's almost 140 different languages spoken within SDOL. Yes. So it's a massive cultural hub. Being Lancaster City and the surrounding areas, we're also the largest district inside Lancaster County. So we have about 10,000 students currently, and we support 24 buildings. So that's a big deal in and of itself. So my passion, my love for SDOL actually came about 15, 16 years ago at this point, because I started my life out as an educator. As a teacher. And so I did my student teaching at the high school at SDOL back in 2009. And so, traveling through life, I always wanted to get back to SDOL in one way, shape, or another, just because I knew that they had a high need. I didn't know what that need was going to be when I came part of SDOL, but I always had a love for it because they're community driven. It's all about the kids, all about it's not so much what do we do inside of our 7:30 or 8 to 4 jobs when we have the kids in our district. It's kids in our building. It's what can we do for the kids outside of it? Can we, what kind of wraparound services can we provide? What kind of after school programs can we provide? What kind of clubs like esports, things of that nature. So different ways to engage the community and create safe and positive places for these kiddos to be, whether it's, in an English classroom, a second grade classroom, or whether it's after school or before school. So we have a very wide demographic, a very wide basis, from SDOL even covers what's considered YIC, which is the Youth Intervention Center, which is basically a youth detention center. Where kids, yes. So we service part of them as well. To this morning, I was over at a pediatric specialty care center that we also cover. We cover the Lancaster County Prison. We have a classroom at Lancaster County Prison, and then we have our standard elementary schools, middle schools, and high schools. So there's a wide array. And then on top of that, we also have, IB and AP programs. We have that are, college courses that we offer at the high school. We offer dual enrollment. So there's such a wide expansion of not just Lancaster County, but then inherently what becomes the school district of Lancaster, which is the kiddos that are involved in all those things. So it's just a very unique opportunity, very wide array of people, of talents and all sorts of things. When I got hired as the AV supervisor, so I started out as the SDOL just as a district tech. And
Hmm.
so when I did that, I was responsible for basically supporting all the district across the entire district, or sorry, all the technology across the entire district. I was able to go out and see all these classrooms, and I saw the discrepancy of technology. And so when the AV supervisor position got created, which is my current position, and I got into the role, I said, okay, we need to look at what's the age range of these technologies. And so I went across the board and I said, we have projectors that are anywhere from a year old to 15 years old. This
Yeah.
is a problem. So I spent time then looking into, okay, what's the current solutions of technology? Where are we at? Where is everything trending? And digital whiteboards were key. On the same hand, I needed to be financially, approachable because they're expensive. We have 900 plus classrooms here. So I'm not buying 30 projectors or 30 TVs or 30 widgets. I'm buying almost 1,000 of these things. So it has to be scalable. It has to be approachable. And I need to schedule this out and figure what this is going to look like during the duration of whatever financial period this is going to be. So when I came across the CreateBoard, I was like, this is easy. This is basic, and I mean that in the best way. It's basic, it's simple, it's intuitive. This doesn't have all these things that people are going to get lost inside. It's basically a big, and we were one to one prior to the purchase, so we had iPads in every kid's hand, and we had iPads in every teacher's hand. So I was like, if it functions like a big iPad, even though it's Android based, I don't care. I just need it to be intuitive. I need them to understand how to make this thing work without me having to provide training on a weekly basis. So that's what led me to the LG CreateBoards. And so when I brought it back to the district, and the pricing matched up, everything matched up. It was affordable. And working with Jason Hubbard since day one, he's been fantastic with having a shared vision of mine and helping this community out and bridging gaps. To me, we're not buying this because it's bright and shiny and it makes sounds and it looks cool and it's 4K and all the tech nerdy bells and whistles. I bought it because it makes sense. It had speakers on it. They can connect to it wirelessly. They can draw on the board. It's not going to break. I can mount it on the wall or I can mount it mobile. That's really all I needed. Anything past that, I'll figure it out down the line. And so I remember bringing it back, and my first installment was the high school, and I bought 200 of them and I installed them at the high school. That was cool. And then the next immediate need was, okay, where are we going to put them next? And one of our buildings is at a more high risk middle school than our other middle schools, just based on location and things of that nature. And so I saw the need to put it in that middle school. And if all they used it for was to play videos and music as a calming vibe for the kids, I was a happy camper. Because again, I knew the importance of creating environment and atmosphere inside of a building before education can ever occur. And so I remember deploying to that building, and I remember walking around afterwards then and seeing the videos and hearing the music, and without prompt, they did exactly what I thought they were going to do. And I got reports afterwards for the principals and from administrators and teachers saying, this is a game changer. And the other thing though that was important to me with deployments is that I told the team, because it's myself and then I oversee 4 AV technicians. We did all the deployment ourselves in-house. We didn't bring anybody to do it to do deployments. And now we're sitting around 900 boards deployed. So we've done a substantial amount of deployment in the last 2-3 years. So we're almost done putting one of these boards in every room. But I also told the team, I said, listen, at the closure of deployment, we will, as a team, offer training opportunities for all staff inside the building. We will not drop this in your building and leave. We will say, I want you to work with it. And I didn't have the communication with the building leaders. I wanted the team to learn and grow through the process as well. So I said to the team, I want you to do the outreach to the principals. You talk to the principals. You schedule a time to meet with these teachers and train these on these things. And we did exactly that. So every board that we've deployed, we have offered and provided one-to-one training to every single staff member that would be in front of that board. Because again, we took the responsibility of its success. This technology will not be successful if we don't show you how to do it. And in the same hand, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, come back and let us know. We want to grow with you. We are deploying these brand new just with you. So we are learning, we are growing with them as well. We want to know what your needs are so we can close those gaps as well. And so fast forward, they're deployed, I'd have to do counts, but I would say they're just about 16 buildings plus and at almost 900 CreateBoards that we have deployed in the last 2.5 years. It's phenomenal that we've been able to do that. Big thing for us was, as far as curricular, was having the teacher to be able to interact with the curriculum, having the teacher to be able to draw on the board again, because with projectors, we lost that. So you had some stuff being handwritten on boards, whiteboards or things of that nature, but you weren't able to pull up curriculum content on a display and right on top of it. Yeah. The setup prior was that they had a hard line connect their computer to an HDMI cord at their desk to put it through a 720p projector. So it's like looking through a screen door. So you had students with visual impairments. It was hard for them to see. Again, it's not so much about. It wasn't to me so much about meeting the math curriculum. It was making sure that the curriculum, regardless of what it was accessible to every student in the room. And with projectors and things of that nature, it wasn't. To me, it was that small stuff that I don't think that not everybody understands is the ticket. You know what I mean? As a music teacher, to be able to pull up a staff on the CreateBoard and write music. Oh my gosh, what a thought process. Yeah. When I taught, it was getting the easel and the five chalk lines and drawing across the board. But now you can do it like that. You have a student who's absent. You can now save that work that you've done on the board to a digital file and give that to a kiddo. Again, things that did not exist prior because the technology wasn't there to support it. As we move forward, we're identifying a little bit of specialty pockets that, okay, so for instance, the example comes to mind is down the hallway from our room, we have an MDS classroom. MDS is multiple disabilities. So we have students in wheelchairs with aids, They came back to us this year because when we initially deployed it, they had some concerns about location, size, physicality of the device with having so many adults in the room. And I said, I understand. I said, listen, use it. And if any adaptations you need, you let us know. So they came back to us this year and they said, Sam, we love, and talked to the team, we love the product. It'd be great if we could pull it off the wall so that a student can fit underneath it with a wheelchair.
Mm.
So I'm like, okay, I didn't think about that. That's your experience in your classroom. So now it's my responsibility to close that gap and provide a solution for you. So now moving forward, it's, how do we take the technology and the resources we have and the partnership that we have with LG and our friends and say, how do we provide meaningful tools to our pediatric students? How do we provide meaningful tools, to an MDS classroom who has a specific need? When can we start looking at stands now that go from a vertical to a horizontal by the push of a button? Can we look at stuff that has battery bases so that we're not worried about wheelchairs hitting cords and fall hazards? So we're looking at adapting things and just continuing to polish it as we move forward so that we're not missing any single kid, because our responsibility is to the education of 10,000 kids. So it's all part of the larger conversation. Again, we don't do this for the million. I always joke, we don't do this for the $1 million paycheck, the 40 thank you emails, and the gold stickers that I get on my way out to work, because they don't happen. We do this for the growth of the community and the betterment of education inside the walls that we can control.